In the dark, murky swamps where the air is stagnant and sunlight never reaches, there lives a creature that can survive for over 20 years. It needs no oxygen, no light, and the dirtier it gets, the stronger it thrives. They call it the mud warlord, the catfish, the silent ruler of the low-cost seafood industry. But what's even more remarkable is that the catfish is not only the king of the mud, but also a vital link in the global seafood chain, generating more than $3 billion in revenue each year. Its journey begins in still, muddy ponds, where it grows rapidly thanks to precise feeding and tightly controlled conditions. Once its firm body and thick, bronze-tinted skin reach market standard, it is sent to modern processing plants to be prepared and flash-frozen, locking in its fresh flavor before making its way to markets around the world. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we follow these extraordinary catfish on their remarkable journey to win over seafood lovers across the globe. Let's begin. If China is known as the catfish processing capital of the world, holding up to 60% of global output with its dense network of ponds and factories across the southern provinces, then the United States is the ultimate battleground outside Asia, one of the most demanding markets where every single cut of fish must pass a gauntlet of strict standards for hygiene, texture, and food safety before earning a place on the dining table. For decades, catfish has been hailed as the king of affordable seafood, prized for its rich sweetness and exceptionally reasonable price. While 200 kilograms of catfish may only fetch the price of 1 kilogram of bluefin tuna, nutritionally, it stands tall, with high protein and low fat, proudly sharing the stage with some of the world's most prized seafood delicacies. Catfish is instantly recognizable by its long, whisker-like barbels, ultra-sensitive feelers that help it locate food and navigate through murky, dark waters. These living sensors allow catfish to detect prey and read their surroundings with precision, making them cunning and agile hunters beneath the surface. To maintain and improve the quality of catfish breeds, the fertilization process is carried out methodically and strictly, starting with the careful selection of elite broodstock. Once meticulously chosen, these superior broodstock enter a closed and highly controlled breeding cycle. The female catfish are injected with ovulation-inducing hormones, commonly HCG or a dimethylium mixture, then left for 6 to 12 hours until the eggs reach peak maturity. At the right moment, the eggs are gently collected into clean trays, while milk from the males is obtained either by abdominal stripping or directly from the testes. Every step at this stage must be performed with absolute precision, speed, and sterility, as even a minor mistake could jeopardize the entire batch of fry. Unlike salmon or sturgeon, famed for their prized roe, catfish eggs have a rich, fatty taste and a pronounced fishy aroma. And if the mother fish lives in polluted waters or is diseased, the eggs may contain pathogens or heavy metals, making them unsafe to eat when their origin is unknown. The eggs and milk are then gently mixed in an activating solution and evenly divided into specialized trays placed in a strictly monitored environment for temperature, humidity, and hygiene. Immediately after fertilization, the eggs are not incubated right away. Instead, they are kept in large trays to stabilize. Initially, the eggs appear pale yellow and slightly translucent, indicating that the embryos have just begun forming. Next comes the cold preservation phase, where the water temperature is kept consistently cool to prevent thermal shock and fungal growth. During this period, the eggs gradually turn a light pink, a sign of healthy embryonic development. When the eggs reach optimal biological maturity, technicians carefully remove, rinse, and transfer them to specialized incubation systems. Each batch of eggs is the result of a process controlled down to the exact degree Celsius and every drop of water, ensuring a solid foundation for the success of the future catfish generation. In just 24 to 36 hours of incubation, catfish eggs begin to hatch, revealing tiny, translucent beings drifting like dewdrops in the water, the larvae gently swimming through the clear depths. Catfish hatch much faster than many other fish, thanks to their thin eggshells and rapid embryo development, adapted to the warm waters of tropical environments. This stage is extremely fragile. The larvae have no mouths and rely entirely on their yolk sacs for survival. They are kept in clean, aerated tanks with a stable temperature of 28 to 30 degrees Celsius and minimal water flow to protect the delicate young from injury. Each tank functions like a giant biological incubator, nurturing thousands of tiny lives growing by the minute, beginning their journey toward becoming healthy, valuable catfish. As the yolk sac is depleted, the fry begin feeding on soft, easily digestible foods such as Artemia larvae or finely mashed boiled egg yolk. After a few days, high-protein powdered feed is introduced, evenly sprinkled over the water in precise amounts. Feeding at the right time and in the right way not only promotes rapid, even growth, but also minimizes losses during these challenging early days of life. When the fish are strong enough, farmers take a crucial step, moving the young catfish into a larger grow-out environment. Tubs holding thousands of fry are gently poured into a transfer trough, where continuously flowing water helps them gradually adapt to the new conditions. From here, the fish are guided directly into expansive grow-out ponds. Not just a change of space, but a milestone in their development, where growth rate and survival will determine the success of the entire crop. A grow-out pond is not simply a container of water, but a carefully designed ecosystem optimized for the growth of catfish. With ample surface area, the right depth, and a continuous water exchange system, these ponds closely mimic natural habitats, allowing the fish to swim freely, digest efficiently, and achieve exceptional growth. Moving the fish into these ponds not only frees up space, but also marks the shift from intensive care to growth-focused rearing, the stage where the fish begin their rapid weight gain toward market size, readying for a successful harvest day. Under human care, catfish, once associated with the wild and muddy waters, are now raised methodically like true industrial candidates. About 5 to 6 months after the fry stage, they enter maturity. At this point, each fish weighs between 0.8 and 1.2 kilograms with a firm body, thick dark skin, and a healthy sheen, all signs that they have reached market standard. With an impressive growth rate, averaging 1.5% of body weight per day under proper farming techniques, catfish are considered among the most efficient freshwater fish in feed conversion, requiring only about 1.2 to 1.5 kilograms of feed to produce 1 kilogram of meat. But to achieve rapid growth, farmers must understand a key instinct. Catfish are voracious feeders. The moment they detect the sound of food hitting the water, the entire school rushes to the surface in a silent yet intense feeding frenzy. This is why modern farms no longer feed by hand. Instead, they use automated feed distribution systems mounted on specialized vehicles that run along the pond banks, saving labor while ensuring even and precise feed delivery for each growth stage. Each feeding session is like a military drill, carried out swiftly and with minute precision. As a result, the fish not only grow quickly and uniformly, but also experience less competition and injury, a crucial factor in maintaining high market value before the harvest stage. After about 5 to 6 months of farming, when the catfish reach an average weight of 1 to 1.2 kilograms, farmers begin the harvest, a stage that requires both strength and precision to ensure meat quality and minimize losses. The process starts by deploying a durable nylon seine net with a mesh size of 3 to 4 centimeters, gradually tightening it into a smaller circle to gather the fish into a holding area. On the surface, Motorboats and divers work in sync, creating gentle water currents that guide the school into the net pocket, the final concentration point. Water churns and foams as tons of catfish thrash powerfully, creating a scene that is both noisy and urgent. Once the fish are concentrated, an industrial crane lowers a massive net basket, scooping up each heavy load of several hundred kilograms. Water drains quickly through the mesh to reduce lifting weight and prevent suffocation. The catfish at this stage are firm-bodied, with thick silver-gray skin and white bellies, clear indicators of premium-grade fish ready for sale to processing plants. Immediately, the fish are transferred into specialized tank trucks equipped with aeration and water circulation systems, maintaining a density of 150 to 200 kilograms per meter cubed. This is crucial as catfish are highly sensitive to environmental changes. Lack of oxygen or sudden temperature spikes can cause stress, lowering meat quality. At HACCP-certified farms, the entire operation, from setting the net to the tank truck leaving the pond, is completed within just 1 to 2 hours. The goal is to minimize the time the fish are crowded, preserving firm flesh texture and high market value before they move on to processing. As soon as the catfish arrive at the processing plant, they are immediately transferred into chilled saltwater tanks, a dual-purpose treatment that maximizes freshness while removing the characteristic slime from their skin. Next, the fish are passed through a high-pressure washing system where strong jets of cold water from multiple angles thoroughly clean them before they reach the sorting table. Only fish that meet quality standards are selected to continue along the processing line, while substandard fish are separated and handled through a dedicated procedure. In the pre-processing area, quality-approved catfish are handled without delay. First, workers remove the heads and internal organs either manually or with semi-automated equipment. Next, the fish are fed into a modern filleting machine, where razor-sharp blades neatly separate each slice of pale pink flesh, uniform and clean. Every step of the process is optimized to ensure speed, hygiene, and consistent quality, preparing the fish for the next stages of production. Although catfish do not have many fine bones, processing plants still carry out meticulous deboning after filleting to ensure absolute quality. In many traditional facilities, this step is done manually under bright lighting. Each fillet is placed on a cold stainless steel table, and workers use specialized steel tweezers to pluck out even the tiniest pin bones. Just one missed bone could lead to an entire batch being rejected in highly demanding markets such as Europe or Japan. Not every catfish is selected for premium filleting. Those that do not meet appearance standards are handled separately by being salted with refined salt and then quickly frozen to optimally preserve freshness and meat quality. The fish are then stored in strictly controlled cold storage, ensuring that their nutritional value and flavor remain intact before being processed or distributed, making full use of every part of the product in an efficient production process. For fillets that meet quality standards, the next step is entering the automated packaging line. Here, workers perform a final inspection before placing them into pre-formed trays. Each portion is precisely adjusted to the standard weight, ensuring uniformity and visual appeal. Finally, the products are labeled, printed with traceability codes, and neatly packed into chilled boxes, ready for shipment to supermarkets and demanding export markets. Each fillet, though simple in appearance, represents the result of an entire chain of sophisticated technology behind the scenes. If China is the grouper capital with over 60% of the global supply, then the United States is the giant consumer, spending hundreds of millions of dollars each year on live and filleted grouper. From upscale seafood restaurants to family dinner tables, this gold from the sea is steadily capturing the American palate. Compared to tuna, a familiar star of the seafood world, grouper is about 20 to 30% more affordable, yet boasts twice the omega-3 content, firm white flesh, low fat, and a mercury level that's only a quarter of what's found in many other large fish. Beyond being a stealthy predator in the wild, grouper possesses a remarkable natural ability. They can change sex. Once they reach a certain age or size, they transition from male to female. Their reproductive organs shift, hormones surge, and even their colors and behavior noticeably transform. This incredible sequential hermaphroditism ensures sustainable reproduction and makes groupers well-suited for aquaculture. Thanks to their adaptability, groupers can thrive in closed indoor farming systems using cement or composite tanks equipped with roofing and systems that control temperature and lighting. Juvenile groupers are reared in seawater that has been treated through mechanical and biological filtration, as well as UV sterilization, effectively removing impurities and pathogens. Once they reach the desired size for grow-out, they are transferred to outdoor ponds or sea cages, where the expansive space and natural water sources allow them to continue developing, producing firm meat and rich flavor comparable to their wild-caught counterparts. During the indoor nursery stage, young groupers are fed floating or sinking pellets that are high in protein and appropriately sized to fit their small mouths. The daily feed is divided into multiple meals to ensure a continuous supply of nutrients, helping the fish grow quickly, stay healthy, and successfully adapt when moved to outdoor environments. Once transferred to the outdoor environment, groupers are released into large grow-out tanks, typically round or square in shape, with high sturdy walls to maintain stable water levels. From above, the circular tanks resemble a chain of massive wells, their deep blue surfaces glistening under the sunlight, signaling a promising new growth phase for the young fish just out of the nursery. Seawater is continuously pumped through a system of pipes and recirculating filters, keeping the environment clean, oxygen-rich, and stable in salinity. Beneath the surface, groupers, the silent predators of coral reefs, grow slowly but steadily, developing firm flesh month by month. They prefer to swim leisurely near the bottom, occasionally darting upward to snap at prey. Thanks to the stable environment, their natural body patterns become more vibrant, and the flavor of their meat grows as rich and refined as that of wild-caught groupers. Groupers, once known as stealthy predators of coral reefs, are now methodically raised in modern aquaculture farms. Their feed is often locally produced, using a mix of fish meal, squid meal, fish oil, and essential minerals and vitamins, blended into a high-protein, easily digestible formula, and pelletized for each growth stage. The feeding process is fully automated, ensuring accurate timing and even distribution, helping the fish grow uniformly and stay healthy. When harvest season begins, the massive offshore cages are gradually tightened, herding the groupers toward the center. From the deep seabed, each 20 to 30 kilograms fish slowly emerges, their firm bodies and golden silver scales glistening in the sunlight, signaling they've reached peak condition. Fishermen work with swift yet precise movements, using soft, specialized nets to gently lift each fish from the water. The goal is to minimize any contact, as even a small scratch can lower the commercial value. The freshly caught groupers are immediately transferred into seawater tanks enriched with oxygen to maintain their health and reduce stress before being brought ashore. On deck, the harvest crew follows a strict procedure. checking water temperature and salinity, monitoring the condition of the fish, and ensuring each one meets quality standards. This is the culmination of over 2 years of careful farming, constant supervision, and modern technology. Each harvest isn't just an economic event, often worth tens of thousands of dollars, but also a testament to the seamless coordination between aquaculture techniques and fishermen's expertise. These prized catches are swiftly transported to processing plants, ensuring they remain as fresh as when they were still swimming in the sea. As soon as they arrive at the processing plant, the groupers are immediately sent through a high-pressure washing system, where cold water jets spray from multiple directions to remove impurities and thoroughly clean the fish before moving on to the next stages. From the washing area, qualified specimens are sorted, and the larger groupers, weighing between 30 and 50 kilograms, are directed into a specialized processing line. Handling these giants cannot rely solely on conventional industrial machinery. It requires the skilled hands of seasoned seafood processors to ensure precision in every step and to preserve the integrity of the meat. The process includes gutting, filleting, skinning, and portioning the fish so that each cut is even, visually appealing, and retains its natural structure. Large groupers are often pre-ordered by high-end restaurants or discerning culinary clients due to their richer flavor and exceptional firmness and elasticity compared to smaller fish. Their value can be many times higher than that of standard commercial groupers, not only because of their abundant meat, but also due to their rarity and premium quality. Each large grouper, once processed, becomes a prized ingredient, demanding meticulous attention and refined technique to create a final product that meets the highest standards. While large groupers require the skilled hands of seafood artisans to be carefully processed with precision cuts, standard commercial groupers are handled through an optimized industrial line designed to maximize efficiency and consistency. First, workers perform manual pre-processing steps. The process is closely monitored to ensure hygiene, quality, and uniformity before moving on to the next stage. Compared to many other marine fish species, grouper has relatively fewer and smaller bones. However, to meet the strict standards of high-end markets, processing plants still carry out an extremely meticulous deboning process. At traditional processing facilities, this step is often performed manually under high-intensity lighting. Each fillet is placed on a chilled stainless steel table where workers use specialized steel tweezers to remove every tiny bone. Because even a single missed bone can cause an entire shipment to be rejected in demanding markets like Japan or Europe. After filleting, the grouper meat is quickly rinsed with cold water to retain its freshness and remove any remaining impurities. Immediately afterward, each fillet is carefully sorted based on color, firmness, and the uniformity of the meat's grain. Only the highest grade portions proceed to the packaging stage, ensuring exceptional product quality. After being carefully inspected and graded, each grouper fillet is transferred to the IQF, Individual Quick Freezing System. This technology uses an intense blast of deep cold air to freeze the fillets within minutes without breaking the meat's natural structure. As a result, the freshness, color, and natural texture are preserved almost perfectly. Immediately after the first freezing, the fillets move on to the glazing process. Here, each fillet is gently dipped into a bath of pure cold water, forming an ultra-thin ice coating around the surface. This layer helps prevent moisture loss, oxidation, and freezer burn during long-term storage. The fillets are then frozen a second time to lock in the glaze, ensuring the product maintains its optimal quality until it reaches the consumer. For fillets that meet the required standards, the next stage is the automated packaging line. Workers perform a final check before placing the fillets into pre-shaped trays of exact standard weight, ensuring uniformity and visual appeal. The trays then pass through a modern vacuum sealing machine, which removes all air and seals them tightly, keeping the freshness for longer without the need for preservatives. Finally, the products are labeled, printed with traceability codes, and neatly packed into cold storage cartons, ready to be shipped to supermarkets and demanding export markets. A single grouper fillet may seem simple, but it is the culmination of an entire chain of advanced technology and meticulous craftsmanship at every step. Japan is regarded as the capital of freshwater eel in Asia, consuming nearly 100,000 tons annually and turning this slippery fish into a strategic, ritual dish every summer. Eel farms are not only a vital link in Japan's culinary supply chain, but also act as silent biological factories, steadily operating behind the scenes of a refined food culture. Japanese eel sells for $20–40 per kilogram, far more expensive than tilapia and even farmed salmon. Beyond its price, eel meat is prized for its tender texture, rich flavor, and high nutritional value, especially its renowned ability to restore energy and vitality after periods of fatigue. To this day, the reproduction of eels remains a deep-sea mystery. Despite tracking their long migration journeys, humans have never witnessed them mating or spawning in the wild. Everything unfolds silently in the ocean depths, making this fish one of the most enigmatic aquatic creatures on Earth. Because artificial breeding has yet to be fully achieved, modern eel farms still rely on juvenile eels caught from the wild. Once collected, these young eels are placed into specialized tanks within industrial farms, where water quality, temperature, oxygen levels, and stocking density are strictly controlled to ensure growth and minimize losses. Eel tanks in Japanese industrial farms are far more than just bodies of water. They are artificial ecosystems engineered with near-perfect precision. Beneath their calm surface lies a complex network of sensors, water circulation systems, and controls for oxygen, pH, salinity, temperature, and flow, operating silently yet continuously like a living biological machine. And within that artificial ecosystem, the strangest element is the feed itself. To keep alive creatures as fragile as glass threads, Japanese scientists once turned to an unlikely ingredient: shark eggs. Rich in lipids and rare enzymes, these eggs supported the early development of the eel larvae's digestive system. But due to high costs and limited supply, researchers began a race to develop an alternative diet. The answer lay in microbial technology. In the hatchery, each batch of feed begins not with manual mixing, but with a spinning steel vortex drum. Warm-treated water is added, followed by a blend of deep-sea fish meal, enzymes, live probiotics, synthetic fish oil, and seaweed flavoring. As the drum turns, a smooth, sticky nutrient mass forms, cohesive enough to shape into pellets while preserving live enzymes and beneficial microbes. Instead of being dried or dissolved, the feed is incubated in a dark room where humidity, temperature, and light are precisely controlled to awaken the microbiota and trigger fermentation. The final product is shaped into small pellets and placed directly into the juvenile eel tanks. Not dropped haphazardly or crushed on impact, each pellet lands on the water's surface like a programmed biological signal. Its outer coating keeps it from dissolving immediately, while the core softens just enough for the eels to nibble bit by bit. In the swirling water, surrounded by thousands of tiny bodies, Each pellet becomes a gathering point. The young eels respond instinctively, gently nudging, nibbling, circling back again, creating a rhythmic dance as if the ocean's energy were pulsing right inside an industrial plastic tank. After about 7 to 8 months of cultivation, once the eels reach optimal size, modern farms initiate a fully automated harvesting process. Gone are the days of scooping by hand. Today's tanks are modular in design, with tapered bottoms and smart drainage systems that trigger the eel's natural reflexes to gather as the water level drops. From there, they are guided through smooth, flexible pipes and delivered straight onto the processing conveyor belt. Due to their elongated bodies, thin skin, and slippery, delicate nature, every stage involving physical contact is carefully optimized to minimize stress and impact. The conveyor belt not only transports the eels, but also gently washes off any remaining mud, cools their body temperature, and stabilizes their condition before moving on to the next processing stage. After preliminary processing, the eels are placed into specialized plastic bags, not to induce unconsciousness, but to retain moisture and create a sealed environment that makes breathing easier during transport. Thanks to their ability to exchange gases through their skin and their unique mucus layer, eels can survive for hours with only a minimal amount of dissolved oxygen, almost as if they were in a state of suspended animation on their way to the processing plant. At the processing plant, the eels are placed directly into large stainless steel washing tanks, where high-pressure cold water continuously rinses away mucus, feces, and any remaining impurities on their skin. Under industrial lighting, hundreds of eels slither through the aeration system like lively ribbons before being transferred to the automatic sorting unit, where slanted mesh panels with varying gap sizes separate them by size. Immediately after cleaning, the eels are transferred into ice-filled containers to induce rapid immobilization. This method causes no harm, instead triggering a natural cold reflex that renders them temporarily motionless. As a result, the eels remain calm, do not struggle or generate heat, and maintain optimal flesh quality before entering the final anesthesia stage. Once cleaned and sorted, the eels enter the pre-processing zone, where exacting techniques are required for every step. In kabayaki production facilities, workers perform traditional butchering using the kanto-style technique, which involves slicing the eel from the back, preserving the belly, and making it ideal for skewering and grilling later on. Workers use a specialized eel knife with a short, sharp blade and a non-slip wooden handle. The eel is secured on a wooden cutting board, fitted with a metal spike to pin down its head, a simple yet highly effective design that keeps the slippery body in place. Within seconds, the eel is slit open from neck to tail along the spine. The backbone, intestines, kidneys, and blood are carefully removed using a flat knife and tweezers, then rinsed thoroughly under a continuous stream of cold water to preserve freshness. After being thoroughly cleaned and pre-processed, the eels continue their journey to the grilling station, where high-temperature technology is combined with traditional know-how to create the signature kabayaki flavor. In the first grilling stage, the eels are evenly arranged on stainless steel racks and placed into a sealed oven, heated to around 230 to 250 degrees Celsius. The main purpose of this initial grilling is to firm up the muscle structure, straighten the eel's body without any curling, and lock in its natural sweet moisture, a key factor in ensuring the flesh remains tender and juicy. This process requires precise control over time and temperature to ensure the outer layer is just cooked enough without drying out the meat during the subsequent steps. After that, the eels are taken out of the oven and dipped into kabayaki sauce. the very soul that brings the signature sweet, savory flavor and distinctive aroma to this iconic dish. Once the sauce has thoroughly soaked in, the eels are returned to the oven for the second round of grilling. At this stage, the kabayaki sauce begins to caramelize under the intense heat, forming a glossy amber-brown glaze. A lightly charred, fragrant, and delicately crisp skin develops, adding both visual appeal and a deeper layer of flavor. Each eel is now coated in a shiny, flavorful jacket, ready to captivate diners at first sight. Thanks to the repeated grill-dip-grill cycle, every bite of the eel becomes richly flavored, tender, and succulent on the inside, and beautifully glazed on the outside, the perfect embodiment of traditional Japanese kabayaki. Once the grilling and kabayaki sauce absorption steps are completed, the eels are moved to the packaging area, where every operation follows strict food hygiene and safety standards. Wearing sterilized uniforms, gloves, and face masks, staff carefully place each glossy golden piece of eel into specialized plastic trays, manually inspecting for shape and overall quality. Only those that pass inspection are packed into heat-resistant vacuum bags, then run through an automatic vacuum sealing machine to remove air, extend shelf life, and lock in flavor. The vacuum-sealed eels are then neatly arranged in baskets and transferred to the boxing station, where workers place them into cardboard boxes, apply labels and barcodes, and securely seal each package. From there, these perfectly grilled Japanese-style eels are ready to reach supermarkets, restaurants, and family dining tables across the globe. All eyes are usually drawn to the flesh, the most prized part of the eel. But few realize that hidden beneath its tender meat lies a silent treasure: the bones. Once removed, these bones are far from wasted. They're simmered into a rich, concentrated broth, infused with onions, leafy greens, and various spices to create a blend that's both flavorful and deeply nourishing. In another variation, the bones can even be deep-fried, turning into a unique and crispy side dish. Quietly yet artfully, this seemingly discarded part has become a refined highlight, completing the eel dining experience in the most unexpected way. Among the roughly 950 recorded species of sea urchins, only 18 are harvested commercially, with major catches coming from countries such as Chile, the United States, Russia, and Canada. Within this select group, a few stand above the rest: the red sea urchin of North America and the black sea urchin of Japan. Prized for their large, luscious roe, vibrant color, and rich, sweet flavor. This rarity explains why uni ranks among the most expensive seafood in the world, with prices reaching as high as $300 to $500 USD per kilogram, making it a prized indulgence sought after by the elite. Dominating over 80% of global consumption, Japan's sea urchin industry generates hundreds of millions of dollars each year, all from a single, one-of-a-kind ingredient: uni. For those who have never tasted it, imagine a spoonful of sea egg butter, silky and melting instantly on the tongue, leaving a rich, briny finish as alluring as soy-marinated egg yolk, with a hint of sweetness and a whisper of seaweed. Yet the story of sea urchins reaches far beyond the plate. They are the gardeners of the ocean, tending kelp forests and maintaining balance in the seafloor ecosystem. But when natural predators like sea otters vanish, or when urchins graze away every kelp spore, their populations can explode, turning lush marine landscapes into desolate urchin barrens. Even as the world's largest harvester and importer, Japan still cannot satisfy its immense domestic appetite for uni. This demand, coupled with the collapse of wild stocks, has sparked a shift toward a more sustainable future, farming sea urchins in controlled environments, from tiny drifting larvae to golden-rod treasures. The industrial farming process of sea urchins begins with the careful selection of healthy broodstock with well-developed gonads. By injecting a potassium chloride solution to stimulate the sea urchin's body to contract and release its gametes, and then using gravity to aid collection, technicians obtain pale yellow sperm from the males and thick white eggs from the females, ready for the next step of fertilization. Sperm and eggs are collected under sterile conditions, then combined in tanks filled with treated seawater, maintained at a stable temperature of around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius and a salinity of 32 to 35 VS. Once fertilized, the eggs quickly begin cell division and develop into pluteus larvae, tiny, transparent creatures with delicate arms used for swimming and feeding. At this stage, they are reared separately in specialized tanks where fresh microalgae serve as their primary food source, supporting steady growth before they transition into the adult stage. After the larval stage, the sea urchins are transferred to large tanks equipped with rocks or attachment frames to support the formation and growth of their hard shells. When they reach the size of a clenched fist after 6 to 8 months, sea urchins are grown in large sea cages or tanks, fed fresh kelp or brown seaweed that directly determines the quality of their uni-roe and market value. Over the next 4 to 8 weeks, the urchins absorb maximum nutrition, their gonads swelling to perfection, reaching the ideal state for harvest. However, larval survival rates are extremely low, making sea urchin farming challenging and limited, with success rates of only around 10%. As a result, the majority of commercial sea urchin supply still comes from wild harvesting, leading us to the next chapter, the journey of harvesting from the depths of the sea. From May to August each year, as the sea warms and daylight hours lengthen, sea urchins enter their spawning season, a time when their gonads, the rich, golden-orange roe, reach peak development, signaling a bumper harvest and the highest profits of the year. With hand diving, it may sound simple, but in reality, it's a trade that demands physical strength, skill, and finesse. Divers equip themselves with a mask, snorkel, anti-spike gloves, and, most importantly, a curved iron hook or a specialized brush. They descend to depths of 2 to 10 meters, where sea urchins cling to rocks, nestle among seaweed, or sometimes hide in crevices as if playing a game of hide-and-seek. Each lift of the hand must be precise, avoiding breaking the shell, damaging the roe inside, or getting pricked by the spines. Once collected, the urchins are placed into mesh pouches worn at the diver's side to prevent crushing, and brought back to the boat in batches. On average, a skilled diver can harvest between 100 and 300 sea urchins a day, depending on the fishing grounds and population density. The diligent divers understand that sea urchin populations have declined nearly tenfold compared to 50 years ago, so juvenile urchins must never be harvested. Selecting fully mature individuals is therefore a matter of experience, essential to maintaining ecosystem balance and ensuring the future growth of the population. Another highly effective method is bottom netting, a type of net designed differently from conventional fishing nets. As the net passes, sea urchins are swept in by the motion of the waves and the gentle pull of the vessel. This method allows for a much larger catch in a shorter time compared to hand diving, making it suitable for industrial-scale harvesting. However, its drawback is a higher damage rate. Urchins are more likely to be bumped, crushed, or mixed with seaweed and gravel, which directly affects the quality of the roe inside. Once the prized catch is secured, the fresh sea urchins are placed into special perforated plastic containers, lined with a layer of cloth or soft material to prevent breakage. They are then swiftly transported to processing plants to preserve their pristine condition before these delicate treasures can spoil. Here, the race against time begins as each one moves through a tightly controlled production line, where every step is designed to capture the very best of what they have to offer. At the start of the sea urchin processing line, containers from cold storage are moved to the raw material reception area. Each batch is emptied onto a feed conveyor, where workers perform an initial inspection. Damaged, spoiled, or dead urchins are removed immediately, keeping only those that are intact, with firm shells and meeting size standards. This meticulous attention at the intake stage is essential to ensuring the quality of the uni roe inside. Once they pass the initial inspection, sea urchins are moved to the processing area, where the most crucial step takes place, splitting the shells. Workers use a specialized splitting tool with a sharp curved blade and a smart lever mechanism, achieving an average speed of 80 to 100 urchins per hour. By positioning the blade precisely along the seam between the two shell halves and applying a gentle twist, the urchin is neatly split open to reveal the edible treasure inside. At this moment, glistening golden orange lobes, the gonads, known as uni, are exposed in a light briny fluid. Although sea urchin spines are not venomous like those of lionfish, nor do they contain the potent neurotoxin tetrodotoxin found in pufferfish, workers still wear gloves to protect their hands from punctures and scratches, reduce the risk of infection, and maintain hygiene during handling. Splitting the shell is only half the journey, for the roe of the sea urchin, known as uni, is as smooth as cream, fragile, and extremely sensitive to any physical contact, requiring the extraction process to be carried out with absolute precision and care. As soon as the shell is opened, workers use a fine metal spoon or a rounded-edge medical-grade plastic spoon to minimize tearing the delicate lobes. First, they gently remove the thin membrane and any shell fragments clinging to the roe, then skillfully slide the spoon underneath each unilobe, typically 5 arranged in a star pattern, lifting them out intact. Just one overly forceful or misaligned movement can break a lobe, greatly reducing its market value. Immediately after removal, the lobes are transferred to the manual cleaning station. Here, workers use tweezers or the tip of a small spoon to pick away any remaining strands of seaweed, connective tissue, or tiny debris. Some facilities also lightly rinse the uni with filtered seawater, both to remove impurities and to preserve its natural flavor. Once cleaned, the uni is placed in temporary holding trays and gently immersed in a diluted alum solution for 2 to 5 minutes, or in some cases up to 40 minutes depending on the roe's natural firmness. This step helps lock in the shape, enhance firmness, preserve the golden hue, and stabilize the distinctive taste, from its rich briny creaminess to a subtle sweet finish, meeting premium export standards. After soaking, the uni is drained and prepared for grading and packing, ready to leave the factory and grace the tables of fine dining establishments around the world. After processing, each piece of roe is carefully arranged by hand into specialized plastic trays or premium wooden boxes, depending on market requirements. This step demands both an eye for aesthetics and skilled precision. The roe must be placed in its most visually appealing orientation, kept intact without any damage, and each box must display uniformity in color and size. The finished boxes of uni, priced at around $100 to $500 depending on grade and origin, are sealed, rapidly chilled, and moved to the final inspection area before being placed in deep cold storage, ready to make their way to high-end sushi restaurants or the most demanding export markets. One of the most common mistakes restaurants make when receiving uni is not using it immediately, instead storing it at overly low temperatures or allowing it to come into direct contact with ice, altering its flavor, stripping away its natural sweet creaminess, and compromising its delicate, smooth texture. From the depths of the sea to the finest dining tables, uni, ranging from the prized ingredient in premium Japanese sushi to a costly delicacy on international gourmet menus, carries the story of a fragile treasure that holds the full essence of the ocean.